The goat and the salt sack. They say a burden feels lighter when we find a clever way to slip it. But what if that shortcut becomes a trap? Listen closely, because this isn't just a goat's tale, it's a warning wrapped in wool. On a dusty mountain path beneath a sweltering sun, a young goat trudged behind a merchant. A sack of coarse salt hung over his back, its weight grinding into his bones. Every step was effort, every breath a disgruntled snort as they approached a narrow river crossing. The goat paused, sweat collecting beneath the straps. He glanced at the shimmering water, thought of cool relief, and an idea flared, small, sly, irresistible. He stepped into the stream. The sack dipped. Salt hissed away like a sigh dissolving. The load grew lighter, far lighter, so light he trotted out with a triumphant toss of his horns. The merchant frowned, but the goat felt brilliant. He had outsmarted the burden. The next day, the merchant loaded another sack, again filled with salt. They reached the river, and the goat, smug with yesterday's discovery, hurled himself eagerly into the stream. Again the weight melted. Again he strutted ashore. The merchant watched, quiet, thinking. By the third morning, he returned with a new bag, sealed tight, heavier than before. The goat snickered. He knew how to beat this game. The river sparkled with promise. He plunged, joyful, confident. But this time the sack didn't dissolve. Instead, cold river stones packed within drank the water greedily. The load swelled, grew heavier and heavier still. When he staggered out of the current, his knees shook beneath the crushing weight. His clever trick had turned against him, and the merchant's silence spoke volumes. He trudged on, trembling, not with pride, but with regret, as his shortcuts became consequences he could no longer ignore. Hours later, when the burden was finally lifted, the merchant crouched, eyes level with the weary goat. Not every escape is freedom, his gaze seemed to say. Some just lead you deeper into the trap you made. The goat lowered his head, not in stubbornness, but in understanding. Because sometimes we find clever ways to avoid effort, only to discover effort was the lesson, and shortcuts come with shadows that follow us farther than we planned. So remember this tale. What lightens your load today might weigh you down tomorrow, if you carry it with dishonesty instead of growth. Thanks for listening, and if stories like this make you think, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to help the channel grow.